Funding for this program is made possible by Burke Nursery and Garden Center in Burke, Virginia. You'll find trees and shrubs, perennials and annuals, water garden supplies, houseplants, and bird and gardening supplies. Burke Nursery also provides landscape, plant diagnostic, and installation services, as well as the October month-long Pumpkin Playground Festival featuring hay rides and much more. For more information, you can check out their website or call 703-323-1188. Welcome to Gardening with Burke Nursery, the show where we help you grow your garden and increase the curb appeal of your yard. I'm your host, Misty Kuceris, the horticulturalist at Burke Nursery and Garden Center, and today we're going to talk about fall lawn maintenance. And there are really several components when you're looking at maintaining your lawn. The first thing that you want to do is you want to test your soil. The next is that you want to prepare the soil, which is what we call top dressing. And finally, you want to improve your lawn. And improving your lawn means overseeding or seeding those bare spots. It means watering the lawn and mowing the lawn. Fall is the most important time period to take care of your lawn. And the reason that it's the most important time period to take care of your lawn is that most grasses here in Northern Virginia are what we call cool season grasses. That means they're tall fescue, or they're perennial ryegrass, or they're Kentucky bluegrass, which when you get that combination is called a tall fescue mixture. The other is you may have just the tall fescue blend, which is a lot of different types of fescue. And some people do have zoysia grass, which is a warm season grass. But most of the amendments and most of the care for the zoysia grass actually needs to be done in spring and summer. So today we're going to focus on the fescues and the cool season grasses. But if you do have any questions about zoysia grasses or warm season grasses, then definitely feel free to email me at misty@burkenursery.com. So one of the first things that you want to do is you want to take a soil test. The reason that you want to take a soil test is that it's important that you understand what the pH of your soil is. And so you can either take a soil test by your own soil test kit, or you can also go and have another soil test done by Virginia Tech. And what I'd like to talk about first is the soil test that you would take for yourself. You can either buy a soil test kit that has the pH level, has the nitrogen level, has the phosphorus, and has the potash levels. Or you can, since we're doing just the lawn here, what you can do is just buy a kit that just has the pH. And pH is an interesting factor. pH goes on a scale of 1 to 14, with 7, the middle number being neutral. And when the pH gets below 6.0, then that pH is what we consider acid, and that's the acidic soil. The pH also is, when it's above 6.2, that pH then is sweet or alkaline. And the best pH for your lawn is 6.2. So if you're going to purchase one of these kits to take the lawn, to take the soil, what you do is you get a little tube, and you have your little tube here. There are some pellets in the tube, and you remove the pellets from the tube, and what you'll do is you'll go and you'll collect some soil from your lawn. You go down 4 inches, collect the soil from your lawn, and then you will put that soil into the tube and then add water, and preferably distilled water, in the rest of the tube. you'll take the pellet and put the pellet into the tube, and then you'll shake the tube. And what I have here is, if you look, you'll see a picture with the tube there. And this is actually a soil test that I took for my own lawn. And so this soil test says that my lawn is neutral. If you look at that, you'll see it's a little green. So it's a neutral soil test. And when it's neutral, that means that it's sweet. That means that it's around 7.0. And when it's around 7.0, then what it means is that I don't need to apply any lime to this. And so the other is that you can actually go and you can get this at Burke Nursery, or you can get this at any public library here in Fairfax County. And this is a soil test that you would take with Virginia Tech, so that you have the form, and then you fill out the form. You go to your lawn and follow the instructions to take the soil test from the different parts of your lawn. And what you'll do is you'll just put it in the box here. And so once it's in the box, you mail it off to Virginia Tech. And Virginia Tech, what you would do is you would actually put down the routine here. And there is a small fee for this $10 fee. But what's nice about this $10 fee is that a lot of that money comes back to Fairfax County. It comes back to our local extension office. And that way we can help you with special programs here in Fairfax County, such as the Master Gardener program or other horticultural and agricultural programs. So it's a nice way to benefit our county and to benefit you. And the Virginia Tech soil tests will actually give money to whichever county the tests come from. So it's a wonderful program. And what you'll do is that after you get the Virginia Tech, after you send the soil samples, you'll actually get a report from Virginia Tech. And this is a report that was sent to one of our people. And in the report, it talked about the soil pH, and in this report it said that the soil pH was 7.3. So again, that's a neutral soil, and they recommended that no lime was necessary. What's nice about this Virginia Tech soil test is that in addition to giving you the pH, it also gives you the potassium, it gives you the it gives you the potash, it gives you also your trace minerals like magnesium, zinc, and other trace minerals. And it also actually gives me the coefficient, which helps me understand how much your lawn will percolate. I recommend taking a test and sending it off to Virginia Tech about every 2 or 3 years. Where with the other soil test, I recommend that you actually do it and take it once a year, so that way you're constantly well aware. And the importance for the soil test is so that you do know, what type of lime do I need? Do I need to fertilize? There's a lot of important reasons for this. So we were talking about the importance of doing a soil test. Next, you want to prepare the soil. And so preparing the soil means dethatching, it means aerating the soil, and it means putting down some sort of organic matter or compost. My recommendation when it comes to aerating your lawn is to aerate it every 2 years. And although some people say you can aerate it any time of the year, the best time of the year to aerate the lawn is in the fall, because what aerating does is aerating takes the soil and it pulls plugs out of the soil, or it creates little holes in the soil so that when you need to put down more compost to prepare the soil, or you need to put down the seed, that soil is loose. And you can either go and purchase, or rather rent an aerating machine, or what you can do is you can hire someone to come in and aerate. If you've been taking care of your lawn and your lawn isn't what we call compacted or very hard, then you can actually get yourself something like this. And what it is a garden tiller. And actually, this is also very good for your gardens as well. And so then you would just put it against the ground, and this would go down about 2 or 3 inches, and it would loosen that soil. And I grew up in New England, so one of the things that we did in New England is we actually put on golf shoes, and we walked around our soil aerating by walking with the golf shoes on, which actually was a lot of fun as a kid. The only time it got a little difficult was when we found that we ended up with a mud patch, and then sometimes those golf shoes would kind of stick in the mud. So that's one way that's several ways that you can dethatch your lawn. I spoke also when I was talking about the soil test, what I was speaking about was the importance of finding out what your pH is. And I mentioned earlier that the pH has to be 6.2 or around 6.2. If it's lower than 5.7, then it's very critical that you apply lime. And here in Northern Virginia, most of our soil is actually hard clay, so that clay makes the soil more acidic. Clay decreases that pH. But if you have a pH of 6.2, maybe even up to 7, maybe slightly higher than 7, like 7.3 in that soil test that I showed you, then you don't want to apply lime. The biggest rule of thumb here in Northern Virginia, because of the clay soil, is if in doubt, apply a little lime, but then definitely get a soil test. And then finally, what you want to do is scratch in any topsoil or compost mixture in those areas where you have bare spots, and then you also want to take some kind of compost as well wherever you have throughout the entire lawn. And what the compost does, it enriches the nutrients of your soil, making it better for the grass to grow. And in those bare spots, when you rough up the bare spots, make sure you're roughing them up at least 3, maybe 4 inches deep, because when you plant your seed, your grass seed needs to actually have 3 to 4 inches depth of loose soil in order to grow. Now, one of the things that I appreciate is that I get questions from a lot of people regarding different aspects. And I'd like to read you 2 email questions that I had regarding the use of leaves as a soil amendment. So Richard emailed me and asked me this question. There are leaves in the wooded areas of our properties. Should I rake them, haul them away? Is there an easy way to turn dried leaves into mulch or leave them where they are? And then Christine asked a very similar question, and she said, what is the best use of fallen leaves in the yard? Do they need to be composted before being used as a natural mulch? Well, according to Penn State University, the leaves of one shade tree can be worth as much as $50 of plant food and humus. So when you use compost, when you compost your leaves, you're getting calcium, you're getting magnesium, you're getting nitrogen, you're getting other very critical trace minerals. Also phosphorus, another trace mineral. But what I'd like to do right now is show you something that you can do with dried leaves that actually is wonderful to do with your children. So I brought along some dried leaves. These just happen to be a combination of mape and oak leaves that I have. And for purposes of the show, I'm using a small bag. When you do this outside, what you want to do is you want to use a large black bag. Not the white, the black bag will be better. And it's easy. You take the leaves, put them in the bag, then you take a little soil. You can even use fill dirt if you want. And you take that soil and just put a little bit of that soil in the bag. So if you have a large garbage bag, like a 40 to a 60-gallon black garbage bag, you'd probably want to put 1 full cup, maybe 2 cups of soil in there. Then what you do is take and add a little water. So you want to moisten the leaves. And then you tie up the bag. You poke holes, just a few holes in the bag. Then you hand the bag to your kids, whether they're adult kids, whether they're younger kids, and you tell them, here, take this bag, go out in the backyard, play soccer with it, play kick bag with it. What happens, and that's why this is so much fun for kids, is that as the leaves decompose here with that little bit of soil, and as it is constantly moving around, the leaves start to break down, and within 3 to 6 months, you have a wonderful bag of leaf compost. And I was sharing this information actually with one of my neighbors a few days ago, and he asked me, he said, well, how do you know when that leaf compost is ready? And I said, well, the last time I did this, I went, kicked the bag, and the bag broke, and the bag disintegrated. I was totally convinced I had wonderful compost, and it was great. I was able to use it in my lawn. On my lawn, I was able to use it in my garden. Fun thing for kids to do, a fun thing for adult kids to do as well. And if you've had one of those days at work and you just want to kick something around, you can just go out there and kick your soon-to-be composted leaf mulch. So, in answering those questions, the answer is yes, you can definitely use your leaves. You can compost the leaves if you want. If you don't want to and of course, composting, that's a program all in and of itself. So, and we'll actually have a program on composting coming up. But if you decide that you don't want to compost, then what you can do is use your lawnmower to shred the leaves, and then you can actually put those in your garden. You never want to use any leaves that are whole. You always have to shred those leaves. The reason being is if you use the leaves that are whole, what happens is that they can become infested with a fungal infection, or they can actually trap water and moisture because they won't decompose when they're that wet. And so if you have any rain, if you have any snow, then that creates a problem. The other thing regarding leaves is if you have a ground cover, and the ground cover can be periwinkle, the ground cover can be pachysandra, you don't want to leave any leaves on that ground cover throughout the fall or the winter months. And I know a lot of people say all those leaves fall because most of my ground cover is under a tree. And usually it's under a maple tree or under an oak tree. But if you don't remove those leaves off that ground cover, then what will happen is that those leaves will get wet. They'll stay on that pachysandra, they'll stay on that periwinkle, and come spring, you'll have a major infection, and you'll start finding that a lot of that periwinkle or a lot of that pachysandra is drying. Now, the other question that I have is actually from Susan. And Susan asks, after I mow my lawn, should I leave the grass clippings on? It's very fascinating because there are actually some states here in the United States that mandate that you leave your grass clippings on your lawn. But if you want, and the reason for that is the grass clippings provide a lot of nitrogen, which the grass loves because it needs it to grow. And so grass clippings are a good thing to leave on your lawn, provided that you follow some rules. So that rule number 1 is that you'd never want to mow your lawn when it's wet. It has to be a dry lawn because wet grass clippings cause a bigger problem than dry grass clippings. The other, when it comes to your cool season grasses, the best height for your cool season grasses throughout the growing season is 3 inches tall. Any taller, you can have problems. Any shorter, you'll start destroying the roots of the grass and you'll invite more weeds. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you let it grow to 4 inches and then you mow it 1 inch. And then finally, don't use a weed killer on your lawns, because if you use the weed killer, then the problem is that the weed killer could actually come in and interfere with some of your weeds. So finally, let's improve your lawn. Improving the lawn means fertilizing it. It means if you're overseeding, then what you want to do is you want to use a fertilizer with the middle number being the highest. If you're putting down regular seed, then if you're not putting down any seed, then you want to use the fertilizer where the nitrogen is the highest. The biggest thing that I've found is if you really want to improve your lawn, it's important to fertilize twice, once in September and then once again in November. And then finally, seeding. And this is with the cool season grasses. I had mentioned that you either have your fescue mixture, which is the tall fescue, bluegrass, perennial ryegrass, or your fescue blend, which is the several different types of fescue. And what you can do is you can use it in a drop spreader, such as this, where you just put the seed in here and you walk along. Or what you can do is you can get yourself, and a lot of people live in townhouses, a lot of people have small properties. And so what you can do is you can put the seed in this hand spreader, and then it has the settings here just like everything else. And so you just keep walking, and depending on the spreaders, some of them are rotary, but what's nice about this one, when you turn on, it has a hand. So any spreader will work. And then the biggest thing is the watering. Watering is very important when you put down new seed. When you have all the seed on your lawn, usually you're watering once, maybe twice a week to make sure that that lawn gets 1 to 2 inches of water. But when you have new seed down, you actually need to water that more than once a day. You need to water it to keep the seed moist, and you need to make sure that it's maybe only 10 or 15 minutes of watering. And so keep it moist, keep it dry, and what you'll find is that you have a wonderful new garden. So I hope that you have the time to play with your kids to create compost, take a look at the different seed that you want, enjoy your garden, and by taking care of your own seed needs, by overseeding, you'll find that you have a wonderful lawn, you'll find you have fewer weeds, you'll find that the root structure increase. So thank you. I'd like to thank you for spending your time here with me at Gardening with Burke Nursery, and I'm looking forward to helping your garden grow. Funding for this program is made possible by Burke Nursery and Garden Center in Burke, Virginia. You'll find trees and shrubs, perennials and annuals, water garden supplies, houseplants, and bird and gardening supplies. Burke Nursery also provides landscape, plant diagnostic, and installation services, as well as the October month-long Pumpkin Playground Festival featuring hay rides and much more. For more information, you can check out their website or call 703-323-1188.